Hello, Happy New Year! Today I'm sharing this winter time project with you. Oh my god, I love it. It looks even better in real life. So let me show you the step-by-step process. I'm starting with this 20 by 20 little canvas. I'm planning to load it with a lot of mediums and texture, so I need it to be nice and tight. That's why I'm adding these small wooden wedges that come with the canvas. Since it's a small piece, I'm only using two of them on opposite corners. Those are the ones that will carry most of the weight of my project. My canvas has a kid style printed design, but I don't want showing. So first I cover everything with a good layer of white gesso. Once it's dry, I glue down this beautiful dark fiber paper. Dream catching. I love how deep and moody it is. I'm using soft mother gel to attach it, making sure everything is nice and smooth, and also to protect it. This beautiful dark background is going to create a great contrast later. You see. Well, once everything is dry, I add a light layer of clear gesso. I'm not sure how this surface will react to the paint, so I prefer to be safe. This element is the biggest piece in my composition. I place it on the canvas to see how much space it will take because underneath I want to add some texture. I use this beautiful stencil all pages and a bit of paper texture paste for that. Okay, here I'm trying to find a good support for my snowflake. It's a pretty large piece, so I'm using some resin elements, cut in half. They're from the tapes and labels set. This helped me build a stronger base and add more interest at the same time. Well, my idea is to keep the composition very light and soft. Because the background is so dark, the contrast will be too strong. So I want to soften it a little. I'm creating a kind of nebula over the background. So first I add a little white gesso, just to make it less translucent. Then I use a Sparks pen in a light blue shade. I diluted it a lot. Really a lot. Because it has so much sparkle, so the shimmer spreads with the water over the white base. And I hope it adds a little kind of magic to this layer. At this point, I paint all the pieces and elements with the cobalt blue impasto. I use it straight from the tube, without diluting it. This blue gets really dark, and that's exactly what I want. Later, I'll come back with dry brushing to add light, so this dark blue will act as the shadows, sitting deep in all the details. Okay, one more thing to keep in mind. My elements are made of different materials. Some are resin, some metal, some plastic. For example, the big snowflake is plastic. So I primed it first with white gesso, just to be safe. The resin pieces didn't need gesso because the impasto sticks really well to them. And that actually gives me different shades of blue. For example, over white gesso, the blue looks brighter. Over raw resin, it feels deeper and softer. And on metal, it creates another tone. I really love playing with that, using the surface to add natural variations. Now it's time to plan the composition. I start moving the pieces around. The first layer of elements needs to support all the bigger pieces on top, so I glued down only the first layer, just to keep it in place. I use heavy body gel, so nothing moves. These base pieces will be dry brushed directly on the canvas later. All the other elements stay loose for now. I prefer to paint them separately, that way I can reach all the details. And I keep the background clean and untouched. Now I apply heavy white gesso using a dry brush technique. I'm using a flat brush, very rough and messy, and I load it with a bit of gesso, and then I remove most of the product on a paper towel. I keep adding and adding gesso layers. I want it mostly white, with the blue only as a soft shadow underneath. Gorgeous, right? Now I'm dry brushing with the Sparks paint. I'm using Magical Pond, this wonderful light blue. I love it. Okay, at this point, most of the main pieces are glued down with heavy body gel, except the focal point and a few extra details. This step lets me add color and shimmer. Now I'm adding some paper flowers. I also painted with impasto paint, diluted a little, but I'm careful not to wet the flowers too much. I want to keep their shape and texture. Here I'm choosing a sentiment using one of the Finaverse Mechanicals antique labels. I go with be in the moment. Once the flowers are glued in place, they need the same dry brushing treatment. Okay, so first white gesso, then Sparks paint. This helps me unify them with the rest of the composition. Now it's time to add highlights. I focus mainly on the focal point, the unicorn of course. The original wings have some pink glitter on them, and it shows through even after I paint them with cobalt impasto. It looks so pretty. I paint the unicorn the same way as the other pieces. To make it even brighter, I add sea glass wax on the wings, the tail, and the horn, and white pearl wax on the rest of the body. This really makes the unicorn pop and adds a magical touch. Okay, I add some silver metallic elements, a few snowflakes, and a little decorative pieces. I also use some small buttons to cover tiny gaps in the big snowflake piece. These details don't need paint, and they fit perfectly with the rest of the composition. I also add some snow with the snowflake texture paste. I place it where snow will naturally collect. This adds more dimension and a soft winter feel to the piece. Wow, the more I build this winter tale, the more I like how it's coming together. I love it. Now it's time for the final details. Off camera, I added a glass element, a little bottle with silver glitter inside. To help everything feel connected, I also added some pebbles of different sizes. This helps create a more wintry atmosphere. Finally, it's time for the magic of the splatters and a bit of playful rebellion, of course. I mix Finneber white mica powder with titanium white liquid acrylic. This gives a delicate pearly shimmer. It adds a playful, snowy effect to the piece. And that's it. The project is so gorgeous with all these final touches. I hope you enjoyed this magical winter tale and hope that inspires you to create your own winter story. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye bye.